up, man? How you doing, Tom?
Man, I'm doing good. Doing good.
I don't want to make this a political thing, but I hate politics, and every day that we get closer to an election, I just want to murder someone. Like it's
it's so crazy. Other countries are like, look, you got 45 days, you got 90 days. like it's 2 years out. You better start campaigning.
Yeah, I mean, come on. You know,
you got like, you're in office 4 years. That means 2 of them you spend fucking jerking off, trying to convince voters to vote for you.
Oh man, and
you're all fucking senile.
And then like the list, the tyranny of emails and messages that you get to do it, to like look at this versus look at that. Every news agency is not even pretending to be unbiased at this point. They're not.
It's so like, fucking stupid.
It's so stupid. And it's like, the algorithm is fucking real, bro. Like that shit is everywhere. And, the other day, okay, so I just booked a trip to Costa Rica with friends of mine.
Are you going to your house or
Yeah. But get this, later on that night, I got an ad for an article in CNN or something that said, traveling overseas with your friends, survival guide. I was like, you fucking no way. That is not a topic that you accidentally got.
Oh man.
I was like, no fucking way. That is crazy town.
Man, did I tell you, and this is the craziest thing, and maybe we talked about it, maybe we didn't, but I was thinking of, somebody asked me something and immediately my response was, sir, we ain't found shit.
Yeah.
From Spaceballs, right? And in my head, I'm going, oh my God, why is that not on a fucking t-shirt?
Yeah.
I logged onto Instagram and an hour or two later. It like Chive has the shirt for sale, and I'm like, I didn't even say I want a shirt with that. I thought
Hey Google, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. Would you like to watch the 7 Dwarfs?
They'll be like, it's 37.
Yeah,
we know you.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. So yeah, I mean, so I got into a huge argument. Funny enough, I mean, I got in an argument once about taking a 23andMe test, and then when the person asked me if I would let my kids do it, I was like, well, of course. I mean, I have one. My wife has one. I already know the answer to theirs, but I
was like, why am I 51% mom?
Yeah, right.
I'm only 49% dad. What does that mean?
Yeah. And so like, we got into this argument. The cornerstone of her argument is, we've heard this one before, was that, the government's going to weaponize this data. And I was like, all right, I guess that's possible, but that would never happen.
What are they going to do? Appeal to your fucking 1% Egyptian?
Yeah.
Like, you should be an Egyptian nationalist. Really?
Yeah, really? No, but like she might not be wrong, especially after what we're going to kind of get into today. Like, I mean, what happens if you get, I mean, look, if we can find that much out about you through, a Google fucking listening through Alexa,
just your fucking habits.
Right. No. I mean, but like, if we can get that level of detail out of inference, what would happen if we actually ever did, God forbid, give them access to that kind of information?
I mean, here's the thing. What are they going to do? They're going to be like, oh, he's likely prone to a stroke. Let's put him in stressful situations.
But you know how dumb the system is currently. I see it going the other way. Like, we know he's prone to heart attacks, so we're never going to fucking insure this dude. Like, period.
Oh,
like,
yeah, definitely.
Like,
I mean, it's funny that we're talking, like, the topic we picked tonight is going to be about a drug. I don't want to jump the gun here, but like, literally, I went to pick up a prescription for my wife. Nothing major. And they're like, oh, it's $312. And I'm like, we met our deductible. What are you talking about? And she had to put in coupons, and now it's $100. And I'm
it's
like
what that Good RX commercial.
What the fuck? Like, you bastards.
Yeah. Like, this was here.
Why not just make it $100 to get go? You're already gouging on it. The pill cost you $0.01 to make.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. No, I mean, Well, no, Tom, don't you know that we have to pay for research and development? That's why it costs.
That's
so much.
fucking bull. It's all bullshit. And that's the thing. The other thing is like, a generic's coming around the corner.
No, of course.
Is what and it's I know I talk about socialism and things like that, but like this isn't even a life-saving drug. Imagine if it's a life-saving drug and we capped insulin. Oh, that's great because you got a bunch of fat fucking Americans, and
Sure.
I'm not fat shaming here. And also tying into our topic today.
Yeah.
But on the same token, it's like, what if it's heart medicine? What if it's something genetic? And now you're making somebody decide whether or not they're going to eat food or literally die.
Well, so that's actually as good an entree as any into this. But like,
I thought I wrapped that up nice.
Yeah, you really did. Yeah.
I circled around that. I
totally.
tap danced.
Now, so, this article came out about, and everybody's heard about this. This was in the Wall Street Journal. It was an article about Ozempic. And, I guess more broadly speaking, that class of drugs, which I don't remember what they're called.
The semaglutide, the GLP-1s.
Okay. Yeah. So, and semaglutide is what you can get basically at all these weight loss clinics all over the place now. That's the peptide for that, isn't it? Like it's,
I mean, technically semaglutide and some of the other forms, it's just a slightly different, like they tweak it a little bit. And then it's Wegovy versus Ozempic versus Mounjaro or, and I think there's a few others.
Right. But like that family of drugs, right? Like they all have this crazy weight loss side effect. And like, as with so many other things in the sort of wellness category, in particular, in this case, I think the very specifically N of one healthcare, right? Because this has wildly different outcomes.
Well, and that's one of the crazy things too, right? Originally it was the diabetes drug.
Correct.
And now we're like, you could be less fat. Let's do that.
Totally fucking crazy, isn't it? Like it's like
it's so crazy.
Yeah. So, but here's the funny part, and actually the part that I find the most intriguing about this group of drugs is that it has not, at least to my knowledge or anything I've been able to find, passed into clinicals yet. Even clinical design, they're not even designing tests.
Well, look,
because they don't have to.
Once it has one use, off-label use is completely fair game. If you're an MD, you can use it. MD, NP, anybody with prescriptive rights. Right.
But what my point is like nobody has to, there's no financial incentive to organize and conduct a study to find out how efficacious it is for weight loss.
And
because it's already fine.
I've got some commentary on the shortage of it.
Well, so here's my question.
Yeah, like fuck you. It's a shortage because you don't want to make more because you can charge more.
Correct. Right. Well, yeah. Okay. We'll tap into that in a second.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
No. But it's not, because it all of this ties in together, right?
Absolutely.
Like, so if I say I got this drug, it takes me 20 years to clear it through trials and everything like that. We finally get a drug made for diabetes, right? What are we doing there? We're controlling a symptom. We're not really curing shit. Right? Like, and so great. But if you have diabetes and you really don't want to like change anything, like this is something you could use. That's an option you now have, right?
Yeah.
And voila, we find out, holy shit, people are losing a fucking ridiculous amount of weight on this.
And this is so great for us because it ties into so much that even Sinclair, when we talked about longevity, was talking about, with the eat less.
Right. Well, so okay. So jumping ahead, but sideways.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Because it all has to come back to the central theme.
We got to do this for an hour, man. Let's not wrap it up too early.
Yeah, no. So yeah, they have to, you have, first of all, you have to be locked into this forever. Okay. So like what better wet dream for a pharmaceutical company than to find this literally magic hole of money that they can just...
You'll be thin as long as you keep taking this.
Correct. It's literally the devil prescription, right? Like you can do it as long as you want. You'll be thin.
It certainly does feel like a monkey paw kind of situation.
But here's the funny thing, right? And this is actually where my brain started to short circuit with rage. I was like, look, all of these people, the Sinclairs and everybody else, the Greenfields, everybody who's ever done the Tim Ferrisses, do all these crazy fucking experiments on themselves. people are like, these guys are crazy, blah, 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 whatever the argument is. What is the one argument that is in everybody's argument? It's the universal argument against anything we talk about on this show.
I'm sorry, man. You got me stumped.
It's not FDA approved.
It's not studied. Like, all right, fuck
but
that.
Hold
anyway,
on. That is the societal refrain when it comes to this topic of conversation. They say,
it's selective. I don't think it's as hard on this topic because people want to look a certain way.
But peel it back one step here, right? Let's just go into the world where that is all true for a moment.
Well,
let's put our tinfoil hat on.
We're saying this while I'm drinking my hydrogen water, by the way.
Yeah, of course. Because yes, why would you drink regular water? But
look, man, I was like, oh, it's charged. Good, I'm going to fill that up.
Great, I'm gonna do that. No, but here's the thing. Here we've got a drug.
Yeah,
that's approved and tested for one thing. It accidentally does something else. But because of the way those very same institutions and laws are framed, that the same people are bitching against the Pharisees and the blah, blah, blahs of the world, that same system produces an outcome where nobody is incentivized to do a study. This could be making you lose a lot of weight today and in 20 years make your dick fall off. No one's going to know for 20 years. And like,
shit. Have you read that? Because I did take this drug. So I'm kind of attached to it.
So I'm torn. Yeah. The drug or your dick? I don't know.
My dick. Okay. Sadly, I guess.
So like
all it does is cause problems.
It does. So the problem that I have with this is like, okay, look, I just want, at one point before I die, I'd really love it if anyone would recognize the stupidity and error of poor thinking skills. Because like this is a completely flawed system of thought. Because you cannot on one hand say all of these crazy things only get validity through a system that has an FDA approval process and testing.
Yeah.
And then at the same time say, well, a little loophole in that system is that fair off-label use doesn't really need a test. So we're going to make all this money, probably way more on the weight loss than they ever would have made on diabetes.
Yeah. Can you think of anything more human? Right?
I cannot think of anything more pharmaceutical.
But like I'm saying, even religion, even laws, right? Like, right? We got a fucking president that's got like 700 years worth of jail time if he's convicted. Right. And people are like, it's a fucking system. You got to investigate Biden's son. And I'm like, investigate fucking everybody, dude.
Yeah, right. What makes you
fuck
think
everybody?
Well,
if they're pieces of shit, get them off the street.
100%.
like, why are we having this argument?
But that's the point we've always said on this show is like, just because I'm saying one thing doesn't mean I also think another.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I could say Trump is a goddamn criminal. That doesn't mean I don't also think Hunter Biden is a criminal. That just
it's like, look, you're right. A lot of people died around Hillary Clinton and Bill, and it's like, no, that should be looked at too.
Yeah, no, we should look at all of them.
I'm not immediately blue because you say I'm red.
Right.
It's like
exactly right. And I think that's what the big right. And look, this is like, I think this is you're right. That was the best way I've ever heard anybody put it. Like,
but it's every aspect of our life, right? Right. Sure. Religion, right? We can't do this, we can't do that. But like I did it because.
Oh, of course.
It's like, no, Jesus would forgive me, but you're a fucking sinner.
The absolute best thing I've ever seen in my entire life that was not really a joke, but it was a joke, was God hates shellfish. I think we talked about that on the show.
That's
dude. But it's like the most perfect example of this. It's like in the same book in the Bible, 3 verses apart or something, it contradicts itself. And you're like, well, I'm going to listen to this one. Well, because that one's just crazy.
I always like, they're like, Leviticus says you can't have gay sex. And it's like, dude, you're covered in tattoos and it's literally 2 lines down. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Yeah. But that's okay because you got a Jesus cross on your shoulder.
No, God will forgive you if you say you're sorry. And, and a Jesus tattoo, man, that'll just wipe it.
It's always the what is it, the something on the rock or something.
It's like the Horcrux in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's like prevents death. You're like, nope, this is perfect. I got this. But so anyway, back to Wegovy. So this drug is kind of This drug is
I'm
fucking
sorry.
crazy.
I'm
Because-
spicy tonight. It's
No,
funny.
no, listen, you know what? It's a topic that gets me fucking riled up because there's so much good here. This whole article for me was very yin yang in a very polar way, right? Like, so
Yeah, absolutely.
on the one hand, it was magical that this thing was discovered and can do it, right? Like, it's a very cool thing. I want to hear your take on taking it. I know someone very close to me has been taking it, and she has lost a lot of weight on it and really is happy, but she is now recently.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Well, she's recently plateaued. It's been 3 weeks with no movement, and so now we're kind of evaluating what
Cost
the next
versus
like what the next step is, and honestly, the big sort of downside of this, like we touched on earlier, is if you go off of it and the habits that you formed whilst on it don't stick, you kind of end up in that.
You're back to where you were. Yeah.
It's just a new version of the yo-yo diet, right? Like, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah. And the article, maybe we should say we're referencing a Wall Street Journal article. That talks about basically, the new set point for hunger, the new set point for all of this stuff is more related to your biology than your willpower or. How am I wording this wrong, Matt?
No, you were right, but there's so much to peel back in this. It's like you almost need like 12 episodes to talk about this because it touches, like you said.
I don't think people are going to listen to 12 episodes of this shit.
I wouldn't even listen to 12 episodes. I don't even want to. But here's my point, right? So the article's very clearly phrased around like, hey, this drug will make you lose weight despite the fact that none of it is your fault. And it just basically that's incorrect.
How liberating should it be for people that like none of this is your fault?
Well, of course it lets them off the hook for an entire lifetime of bad choices.
But and look, there's some of this where like, look, some people are heavy, man,
and that's fine. But if you want to lose weight, right? And I was talking to somebody recently, and they were like, "Well, this article, proves that it's not just as that calories in, calories out doesn't matter, that it is biological." And I said, well, hold on a second.
That's not what it's saying.
That's not what it's saying. One. And B, well, two, and the bigger part is like,
did you just go from letters to numbers there?
That's
great.
Calories in, calories out has a huge asterisk next to it, which is the quality, right? Like a 1,000 calories of iceberg lettuce is very different than 1,000 calories of a Twinkie, right? And
how many pounds is 20 calories of iceberg lettuce?
It would be
what's
a
that,
ridiculous
three
but
calories
even if you took
per...
something, if you took something a little bit more manageable to eat, if you weren't a bovine, like, let's say, broccoli, right? With a little Kerrygold on it, right?
Yeah.
You eat 1,000 calories of broccoli with Kerrygold.
That's still a shit ton of broccoli, man.
And 1,000 calories. Well, it depends on how much Kerrygold. I go pretty.
Well, that's true.
I get pretty generous.
You had a stick and three heads of broccoli.
But like, we got to agree that that's going to be a different metabolic consequence.
Absolutely.
than from each other. So no, it was never about calories in, calories out. But what this article is saying, and I think that the narrative getting spread, is that this is truly the discovery that proves I was right all along, that it wasn't me, that it was somebody else. And I don't want to discount people's journeys. There's tens of thousands of pounds. It did feel
like that a little bit. It did feel like that a little bit. I'll give you that. It definitely felt like, hey, look, we're taking the blame off of you. It's not you.
Right. And here's the thing, set points and whatnot, those are all fancy descriptions. And we've actually heard about that going back 20 years, at least that I'm aware of.
At least.
With this idea that, cells have a memory. That's actually one of the cornerstones of the marketing paradigm around, what's that? Not liposuction, the cold one.
Because I know it through cryotherapy because they're always trying to sell me something that is
that's also nitrogen.
But it's like a lesser version, so you don't have to be an MD to do it.
Right. So anyway, that process induces apoptosis, which in there
of the fat cells, right? You're breaking the fat cells up.
Right.
Yeah.
which according to their marketing narrative is breaking that muscle memory, that fat memory. And I'm like, okay, I don't have enough data to support or refute this, but I feel like that sounds convenient. Like,
you know, well, here's the funny thing, like, because when cryotherapy first hit, and we were kind of riding that wave at our clinic, you know, and I'm seeing people post photos of before and after, right? They take the tape measure, they put it around their waist before they get in. They take 2 inches, they're down, right? Oh my God, that's fucking amazing,
right?
Hey, give it 10 minutes, let that person warm up.
Yeah.
Everything will expand again. Trust me.
Yeah. Right.
You know, and it was shady marketing, and even to the point where very quickly I stopped talking about the caloric burn from cryotherapy because it felt unethical.
Well, and it also is only marginally accurate, right? Like it could be, even if you could derive a singular number from that experience, it would be irrelevant because, you know, 400 calorie burn to 1,000-pound person is very different than, you know,
a 400 calorie burn to like 100-pound person. Yeah,
correct. Right. So like what this number is meaningless without more data. So even that is a sham.
Yeah. You know, but, and that's a marketing point to get you to use the service or buy a $50,000 machine and this is me saying it, who owns a $50,000 machine, you know?
So yeah, but like, so just to recap where we're at in the journey of shady, you've got a drug that's being used more widely for something it was never designed to do than it is. So like, we already have question marks.
Well, I'll give you that. I'll give you that one. I
only have question marks. I don't really care how I'm not a huge fan of the approval process.
So the reason it works for diabetes is the same reason you get the weight loss.
I get it, but I'm saying you know how specific these drug trials are, right? It's like very specific, right? So like they went through hell and back to get approval for Wegovy specifically for diabetes. Like that's what they could warrant. That's what they could advertise. That's the only thing they could reference. It was all, and that was a normal drug approval process. Now they find out, and I'm telling you, they're going to make orders of magnitude more on weight loss than they ever would have on diabetes.
Than they ever would, yeah.
Yeah, and paradoxically, if I was losing
because they can mark that to a bunch more people, right? I don't need you to have the diabetes diagnosis to sell you this.
Correct.
You just got to be fat.
But in something so completely 100% genius big pharma, they sell it both ways. They sell it if you get fat and get diabetes, and they also sell it if you get thin because you got to stay on it. So either way, and then hold on, the trifecta is you had diabetes, you got the drug, you lost a lot of weight, you got healthy, but you stayed on Ozempic, and then you got diabetes again when you went off of it, and you got to go back on it again. So it's like,
it's a very funny thing, but I don't think we're in the market. I don't think pharmaceutical companies, and there are some caveats here, and I say that knowing somebody, I know some things about a cancer drug that's in the works that could revolutionize a lot of stuff. I can't talk about it, but in most cases, drugs are developed not to cure the disease because that doesn't make you any money.
Mm-hmm.
Right? God forbid you took a pill and your disease went away.
Sure.
How is that a returning customer? You know, now we can talk about McDonald's selling foods that pair so well together that you're going to get addicted to it, right?
Sure.
I'm going to sell you the salty ass fries and you're going to want the really sweet Coke.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to make it a $5 combo. So you're going to buy the whole damn thing.
Sure.
And then you're going to be craving that because it tasted not even good, but it hit the right, taste buds that triggered this response, right? So why is the drug company any different? Why would I cure it when I can just manage it? Because then I have you for life.
But so take a very small step sideways from where you're at right there, and where you land is them saying like, hey, we want to make you on this forever. And so and look, we don't know. It's too early to really tell. Too many people are taking it right now for the first time. And you honestly just don't have any idea, what the next step is. As fast as this came on the market, it could go away. You never know. It's right. But until then, we're going to just keep Instagram circling. It's the echo chamber through the internet, right? Well, this trend is popping because, a bunch of biohackers found out. They said they told their friends, and then their friends told their wives, who were like, well, wait a minute, that sounds like I would like to do that.
It sounds a hell of a lot easier than diet and exercise.
Right. And so fast forward in this article, and let's keep going on this so we can kind of get through this. Otherwise, I told you I could talk about this for days. But like this whole thing was couched in science. It said something about the number of genes involved with weight loss and stuff. And all of that is very possibly true and likely true, right? Like I get that. But I have a hard time swallowing, and I could be wrong, that anybody who's interviewed for this article from a practitioner standpoint or a drug manufacturer standpoint or whatever is truly trying to answer any of these questions. To your earlier point,
I don't think there's enough data.
Well, I don't think they care.
Yeah, I mean, why? They're making money.
Well, that's my point. So when they're like, oh, there's 1,500 genes.
I'm sorry.
No, there's 1,500 genes. We really want to find out what drives it. No, you don't. No,
you want to sell a drug.
Yeah. But what they do say very clearly is this thing, what we do know, and I'm not even sure they do know this, except anecdotally, it does seem to reset that set point. So great. Perfect. But it doesn't take
But it's not a permanent reset, right?
Right. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that, like, when you remove that equation, so bounce the ball down this path. If I remove there, and I know it's going to be problematic, then the only answer to that is to willfully take control of my outcome by changing my behavior, changing my patterns, changing whatever. Now, on the bright side, let's look glass half full for a second. It would appear that this does instill in quite a bit of people an entirely new thought pattern, right? Like their cravings are gone long enough. And what's it take 90 days to reset a pattern? So you get somebody.
So there should be some people that can wean off of this or stop it and stay within a healthy limit.
There should be some. Now, here's the shocking stat that we've all known, but now they said that it's 47% of the population is obese. Did I get that right? Was it 47 or 42?
I think so, man. Now you're going to make me pull that up.
I'm anyway, 42. 42%. Okay. And it says nearly 42, so I'm assuming it's 40. But anyway, 40.8. And they're like, it's nearly 42. 42% are obese. That's knocking on halfway. Like,
no. Yeah, yes, it is nearly half. But
yeah, you know what I mean? You're knocking on halfway. That's close enough to say, dude, half. It's a crazy number.
Yeah.
And like in the last 20 years, that's up 10, which doesn't
only 10%, which seems
they said in 99. I still have it up here. They said 99, it was 31%, right? So now look, these numbers change depending on what source you look at and whatever. So let's just assume for a second these things are close, because this is what most people seem to agree on, that number. That means so many people out there are absolutely going to jump in on this. And only a few of them are going to
be able to get off of it. Yeah.
Right. And at the end of the day, the ones that stay off of it are going to do the exact same thing that we know works forever and ever and has always worked, no matter what the fad is, which is willfully take control of the outcome. Now, I just want to be very clear here before you or anyone else tears me apart on this. I am not suggesting that this is bad. I'm simply making an observation saying, look, statistics are not in your favor on this one, right? Like,
it is so rough, and you watch so many people, right? Like, and to broaden this, like anything, even like Biggest Loser and all these shows, right?
Oh yeah.
What happens the second they're off the fucking show?
Bunk.
And it is better to make these smaller lifestyle changes that take longer than these radical things. And look, man, I'll be honest. I tried the semaglutide.
Yeah,
I got
so tell me how did it go? Yeah, how'd it go?
For me, it was like really not all that great. I'm like, cool. After a few weeks, I was down about 12 pounds, and I'm like, I'm hearing, when people get to max dose, they're down 40, 50 pounds. Maybe I didn't have that much to lose. I'm a big guy. I weight lift. I intentionally try and add more muscle.
Right.
And I stopped it, and within 2 to 3 weeks, I was back up to weight. Now my body looks different, but I'm fucking powerlifting 3 times a week.
Yeah. So like, what one is it, right?
And right now I'm walking around heavier. I think I look better than when I lost the weight with Ozempic.
Yeah, but see, you came out on the other side with that, with one of those smaller percentages of people, right? Like you came out saying,
I don't know, man. Like I could, sit there and look at a picture of pizza and probably put on weight. It's
all right, fair,
it's how I'm wired, and for me, I know you love running. I know you love the Iron Man shit. I'm like, can I just lift this heavy thing a few times and not have to do that? And it's a different mindset.
It is. So that actually is a great tee up to the last part of this. The sort of holy grail of problems for me is that this is going to sound like crazy fucking conspiracy. So just bear with me for 1 second.
Oh man, I got so many conspiracy theories. Like, why is it in the Wall Street Journal? That's where the wealthy people read the magazine. They'll buy the fucking drug.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, well,
they'll be on it for life. They'll be happy.
Oh, they'll be happy. It'll be great. But here's the thing: what do we know? What do we know about health? At least for me, the more I learn about health, the more I realize, above and beyond everything else, is just how complex health is.
It's the Dunning-Kruger effect, or Kruger-Dunning effect, right? The more you know, the less you admit you know.
Right. Yeah. And
you're a fucking genius. If you don't know jack shit, you're a fucking master level of everything.
Oh yeah.
The second you have a PhD in something, you don't know shit.
Yeah, of course. And so like for me, I knowing that, the lens that I view this in is this case study that I think is going to be more people than not. I'm overweight and unhappy. I've struggled, can't figure out. I don't really feel like putting it in. I'm not good at disciplining this part of my life. I'm, I've got loose habits. And look, if you peel this onion, you see patients all the time. I talk to every human I've ever met on this topic, because people come to me because they're like, a bunch of weird health stuff. Tell me about this, tell me about that. And it's always some fad drug. And when you peel the onion, it all comes down to one thing. They want to lose weight. They're unhappy. It sucks, but like they really are not mentally committed to it. Right. And so it having nothing to do with biology, or is it easier or harder for you or Sally or whoever to lose weight? All of that is irrelevant to what I'm saying. The general overall thing is they're only as committed to it as the next Instagram post. Like it's not, that is to say, not super committed.
And that is the crazy thing for me, because I'm not even against this drug.
No, I'm not against it. But,
it's like, do you understand the whole realm of this, which is what I think we're trying to talk about here. It's like, look, this is not a quick fix.
Well, no, but here's the thing. So that person loses weight. They love themselves. It's like super great. Their head's back in a great space. They're walking, they're running, they're weightlifting, they're Ironmanning, whatever their thing is. Yeah. And then they decide to get off of it and they balloon back up and they're like, nope, not happening. Maybe this time they go back on it and they go back down, whatever. Then they just say, fuck it, I'm going to stay on it forever. Now, 10 years from now, we find out that prolonged use of this class of
causes
drugs
X, Y, and Z issues.
Causes X, Y, and Z issues. And now we're in a race to cure that symptom. So my point is, you know what has no side effects?
Diet and exercise.
Diet and exercise. Like there's no, and it's not to sound smug. I'm overweight right now myself. Like I'm 15 pounds over where I want. This is definitely not me saying that like I'm any better, but it is me saying that like the answer to this is me getting my brain in order and saying, Matt, you know what the problem is.
Yeah, and it's I almost feel like I'm not certainly blaming anyone with this, because that is the hardest fucking. Somebody asked me once, well, like don't you learn nutrition in your training? And it's like, yeah, we learn Chinese nutrition. It sounds a lot like herbal medicine, where it's like, here's your condition. Here's the properties of these foods that you should eat. Here's the properties of foods you should avoid, and here's why.
Right.
And it sounds pretty valid, right? I mean, the basic things are like, don't eat fried shit. I mean,
right.
Okay. I mean, that's not a brain. Like no one's like, oh shit, that's enlightening. But within that, I would rather convert you to a different fucking religion than try and get you to change your diet. Why? Well, I'll be more successful.
I'd be more successful. What did you hear? Did you read in that article? Picked it up. They're like 1,500 people did a month at NIS, and they're like, whatever percentage more were like X% more likely to gain weight on a diet of tater tots, fried chicken, and over
like, look,
broccoli.
You're always going to have that weirdo, right? We talked about that one Chinese dude that was chain smoking while running a marathon.
Right.
We talked about, there'll be that guy that eats McDonald's for 90 days. And it's like, yeah, but there's some caveats there. He cut the sandwich in half. He made 3 meals out of that. It's like, don't be like, he didn't supersize it every day. We know what happens with that. They did a documentary on that too.
Yeah. My fraternity brother was actually worked on that movie, Super Size Me. He said,
Super Size Me. Yeah.
He said, what's his name? The guy who did it, Jamie, or I forget his name.
Yeah.
He got sick. Like it was not, he said, like
it is so amazing, but like to pull this back even further into this, well, I feel like now I'm like anti-capitalism again, but like, this is what we want to do. We want to get you to a point where you're not healthy. So then you need the medical interventions, and then you need why? Because we can milk you for more money.
Yeah. What happens if Ozempic causes something else? Long
cancer or something long term.
Yeah. Like, and I'm not saying it would, but I guess my point is that nobody knows if you can. And we've got a system that's got a gaping hole in it, like that should be corrected, because I'll tell you, like, I know you have a different opinion on this because of what you do. And maybe mine is naive, but I do think that it's super fucking weird that they don't really have to, that the doctors aren't having to be held to a standard of professional like recommendation. Like, why did you recommend a diabetes drug for this person? It's approved for diabetes. What are you doing? They don't have diabetes.
Look, this is something that I don't think any person with prescriptive rights, and now I'm not one of them, so once again I'm speaking from not knowledge, but from what I've seen clinically, you know how many people are on anticonvulsants for neurological conditions? They don't have seizures. But we give you a seizure medication because we've seen it working. Gabapentin, Neurontin, all these things, we're using it off label because of how the body works.
No, right? I get it. But I mean, I guess my point. Okay. So then here's a question for you. I mean, cause I'd love to know.
And what I'm saying is, in physicians' eyes, I don't think it's an issue. One, because we're not doing anything we haven't done with 100 other drugs. Two, they know that if I get this person to lose some weight, the side effects of having that weight on their system, cardiovascular disease, cancer risks, all of these other things, strokes, joint pain, all of these diseases go away. Right? If we're thinner, and I fucking hate saying that as a heavy person, but if we're thinner, we run less risk of cardiovascular disease. We run less risk of all of these things tend to go away a little bit, right? So we know if we lower that A1C, and speaking back to that longevity book, right? When he talks about eating to 70% full or constantly being hungry, I mean, there's some truth to that. And that fucking sucks because I love food, man.
I mean, so I love food, but that's kind of the problem, right? It's like, I love food, but the reality is that food has been weaponized in our society.
Absolutely.
And therefore, I need to think about food in a more proactive way. And that sucks. And I recognize that sucks, but that is the only universal answer. It's a horrible truth.
I mean, ever since, and we can go back to 10,000 years ago when we started farming or something. Maybe it's longer than that. I don't know. I'm not a fucking anthropologist. But the second we started farming, we had food readily available, and then we bring towards modern time when we're not actually working for the food anymore, right? We're just going to the supermarket. Sure. I don't have to go out there and cut the head off a fucking chicken. That requires my energy, right? It's also kind of gross. Yeah. But and then you're going to tell me that somebody's going to prepare it for me. I don't have to have somebody cook it. I don't have to be like, I just show up and it's done. Oh, I don't care if you have shit in it. Why? Because it tastes fucking delicious and I'm going to fucking eat all of it.
Yeah.
And we're eating like we are still doing a shit ton of physical labor, right? Like, IHOP, let's face it, if you're a fucking lumberjack, you're probably burning those fucking calories.
Well, yeah. And if you're
not,
yeah.
If you got a desk job, you're probably going to carry some extra pounds.
When I'm in a construction project and I'm just going balls out like crazy, like my breakfasts are epic. It's like 4 eggs.
Like I got to tell you, man, I did a workout today where a little bit of me died inside.
Oh yeah, no, nice.
And my first thought was like, Jersey Mike's has the Italian hero. I could get that at 10 a.m., right? That's not weird.
Yeah. No, that's not weird. No. Yeah.
I was like, I skipped breakfast and now I'm trying to lift fucking heavy weights. That seems dumb.
Yeah, but a fasted workout is the best, man.
Definitely, man.
Like,
I will tell you, like, I cried a little after it, but I made it through, and it was cathartic.
What kind of bullshit
I looked at my coach and I was like, dude, that was the fucking worst thing I've done here.
Yeah.
I never want to come back. I'll see you in 2 days.
Yeah.
It wasn't me joking. I literally had a moment where I'm holding weight going, why the fuck am I doing this?
But see, like you're out there doing it, and I don't think you or I are saying that you got to get out and do that for everybody. But like the reality is going on a walk once or twice a day.
Look, man,
it's a terrible thing.
It is crazy. And once again, socialist Tom here. But like when we talk about other countries where they're healthier, one, they're not driving everywhere. Right. Yes, they've got reliable public transportation, but like, look, it's a 15-minute walk. You go, now let's get in the car. No, just fucking walk down the street, man.
Yeah.
We don't do that. We don't have cities that are set up like that even in the cities, right?
Well, New York,
and if you're in a rural area, New York is like, honestly, they come in as like one of the healthiest cities because those motherfuckers walk everywhere.
Oh, I lived there 10 years. I walked everywhere.
Try doing that in Baltimore, right? And this is a city that isn't built for cars.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, no, you can't. It'll take you forever. Why? You're going to be stopping every 3 feet because you're going to get run over if you don't.
Yeah. No, Baltimore is definitely the worst for that, for sure. No question. But anyway, I listen, I guess we could wrap up the thing in my mind anyway. I think look, the problem that I have with this is just, I think it as much as people are heralding this as like a great discovery, all it is a discovery in a series of discoveries that solves one problem and creates two others.
Well, personally, why I stopped. One, I wasn't seeing this record-breaking weight loss, and I've used HCG diet before, where it's an extremely low-calorie diet, and then HCG, and I lost the first time I did it. I lost almost 40 pounds.
Wow.
It was insane. The second time I did it, I lost like 30 pounds. But what happened between the first and the second time? I put 35 pounds back on.
Yeah.
So I was still smaller than I was, but and now I'm sitting at my heaviest weight, and honestly, I feel healthier than I ever have.
Well, I mean,
and the Ozempic, the one side effect there was I got massive heartburn.
Yeah. So I haven't
lay down for 3 days.
You're the only one I know who's had that, but I get crazy heartburn already.
It is a listed side effect.
Interesting.
And to tell you the truth, where even when I was taking metformin for longevity, right? Metformin's like
also GI issues, right?
I mean, I can't do that. I found I've been using berberine in a Chinese herbal medicine formula, and that seems to be working for me.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't know what I'm getting out of it, but there's so many multiple effects with berberine that I'm like,
what else does berberine do?
So lower inflammation,
right.
And what they found is like berberine is essentially like a more natural metformin. So they're saying it doesn't work as well, but even with metformin, they're showing people have like 5% body mass loss, right? And that's fat, and I would rather do that slow and steady than. I mean, I would have loved it to been like, hey, dude, I took this for a month and have 6-pack abs, but let's just face it, that's just not happening.
Yeah, I just ordered a thing of chromium picolate.
I played with that years ago.
Yeah.
I maybe it adds something. And once again, this is probably, are you moving more and eating less?
Well, no, so that's what I'm saying. I actually ordered it because a friend of a friend, I don't know, somebody said, they're like, hey, if you're getting back into running, try throwing this in the mix. It'll kind of like
it very well could. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. I'm not like in a hurry to lose weight or anything. So like,
but it's a relatively cheap supplement if you're going to throw $30 at a bottle.
It
and
wasn't.
just see...
It was through Thorne, which has got to be the highest you can possibly
yeah.
pay. It was $18 for 60.
Oh man! Oh, that's great. That's great. And you know what's crazy? Thorne's now at Mom's Organic Market. Like I saw that on the shelf, and I'm like, oh, look at that! You can get that easily now.
Yeah, well, they definitely rode the Greenfield wave all the way to the bank for sure.
Absolutely, and they're a good quality supplement. For a long time, like, they were like practitioner only, you know.
But they were, you know, I didn't want to say that smugly. Like they really do have a fucking killer product. I mean, all of their product. I mean, the Provenance, their like not Provenance. What's the COAs that they have? Like we have to get all those for Head Shop for all the CBD stuff now. And like when you call up a place like Thorne, like I called them up and got their COA for the alpha lipoic acid that I used to take from them. And like, they're like, sure.
I'm surprised you can't just pull that right off the internet.
You probably can, but I was lazy and there was an 800 number and I just was like, you know,
why not? Yeah.
Why not? I called GNC, by the way, by contrast, because I was taking their alpha lipoic acid at one point. And when I did the PAG thing for like the Ferris 4-day thing, no, slow carb. That's what it was. When I did slow carb, they do that PAG stack. It's like EGCG, garlic, alpha lipoic acid, and polycosanol.
That's some really heavy duty antioxidants there.
Yeah. So and it was. You know what? I don't know what it is. Quite frankly, maybe one day we have an episode on that. But like, I went from 212 to 170.
Wow.
Before my first Ironman doing that slow carb. And I did it for a few months without the PAG stack. And the second I took the PAG stack, it fucking sent that thing into a hockey stick. It was
man.
Shunk. It was like,
that's crazy. You know, cause I don't think I'll ever be under 200 again. Well, I mean, I don't anticipate like not lifting. So I don't necessarily want that.
Yeah, sure. But my point was GNC, what literally nutrition center in the name, took me a month and a half to get the COAs.
Which is fucking insane. And I guarantee you they don't have it on half their shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was using one of their ALA was pretty popular. So,
yeah, and it doesn't mean it's not good quality. It's just that, you know, one of the things that, and the debate about regulating all this stuff with the FDA is like, you know, so many people are just putting in fillers and you're taking an empty pill.
Which is why Thorne and like I take Neurohacker Collective, I take that quality of life stuff every day. And like,
man, I signed up for that beta testing program and they asked me, I know you did it too. They asked me all those questions or they're like, you have any cardiovascular risks?
Yeah.
I'm like, will you not give me products?
Yeah. Right.
I was like, no, I don't. I'm healthy.
Yeah, no, I am.
Give me drugs,
right? And honestly, I had a friend who's knows a bunch about longevity compounds, and he looked at the quality of life, and he's like, you know, this is all off the shelf ingredients. Like, there's nothing in here that's particularly like revolutionary,
sexy or anything. Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, well, that's a little disappointing.
But you know, I knew that going in, and I always thought, what was their mental focus one where they wanted you to take like your mind, and it's like an A and a B jar, right? Take 16 of these and 8 of these, and I'm like,
yeah,
motherfucker, this pill's gonna last me a week. Yeah, you know, like,
well, and that's the thing. Like, I used to take Quality of Mind all the time. I used to like it a lot, but I again, I don't know. I for some reason, I just like microdosing better. So,
man, I think you're going to have to find that thing. And this goes back to that N1, man, because I've got a new pep, and that is just one peptide, nasal spray that I take it and I'm like dialed in for a couple of hours. If I need to write something or something, and it burns like all hell. It tastes like shit in the back of your throat, but
you're on it. Yeah.
Fuck, I'm focused.
Yeah, I'm on it. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, but it's like you said, like that's a great, you know, cap on the Wegovy stuff too, because it's like, if this works for you and gets you to where you need to be, great. Let's explore it. But I mean,
you know, pre-diabetic, diabetic, overweight, cardiovascular risks. I mean, I think in the article they talked about some dude that's like, he greatly reduced his Crestor. He's off of his high blood pressure medication.
Yeah. So,
I mean, he's eliminated some very serious possible diseases doing that,
Right, but if his dick's going to fall off, then, who knows?
Well, if his dick's going to fall off, what's the point?
Yeah.
But but the likelihood of that happening, I think, we're talking about a peptide, and like, not that a peptide is like can be completely inert or 100% safe, but the likelihood of taking something that your body is manufacturing at a higher level is, I'm going to put my foot in my mouth if I say infinitely safer than something synthetic,
right?
Because arsenic is completely natural.
Right.
Hey, don't take a lot lot of that.
Don't take a lot of that. That's a bad one.
I would say try and avoid that. But it's one of these things where it's not all 100% positive, but the likelihood that it's going to be seriously side effect is less.
Right. Oh, anyway.
So now I'm going to get sued in 10 years, right?
Sure. So what do you get into these days?
Man, I'm really, my office is humming. I'm happy about that. We're bringing in a couple of more staff members. I'm trying to figure out like what I want to do. If I can get this office running well without me, and I was telling our buddy Joe this morning that like I'm feeling a call to kind of start, sharing the knowledge. There's this idea that like, if you've been doing it for more than 20 years, you should be talking about what you're doing, kind of passing the torch.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't feel like an old man yet, but I got my office managers in school, and I hired one of my previous front desk people as an acupuncturist when she graduated, and that's been working out amazing. So I want to share what I know, and not that it's anything proprietary or better than anybody else, but like some of the stuff you can't get at a regular acupuncture school, and hopefully I can put together some classes to help people.
Interesting. Yeah.
What are you up to, man?
Similar version. I'm trying to kind of automate the things about my job so that I can kind of open up and do. I want to go back to the learning cycle a little bit, right? Like I feel like
we talked about that last time, right?
Like I do, and that calling's that's my calling of late. Like I think I definitely and you and I have talked about other podcasts or getting interviewed in other places or books or whatever, speaking and stuff, and I think all of that is fair game. The thing about it is I think that I got to find a unique thing. Like for me, I think coming from the advertising agency world, it's really the opposite of health, right? Like it's,
buy this regardless.
Yeah. And if you look at like, it's a little like Iron Men, right? Like I see all these Iron Men people that have done like 50 Ironmans, and like most of them are recovering from something. Like it's like this is they're not a heroin addict anymore, but they've run 115 Ironman.
I had a friend years ago that was an alcoholic,
right?
And she cleaned herself up. She got on the 12-step program, and next thing you know, she's in the gym like 6 hours a day.
Sure.
And I'm like, wow, it's not the substance. It's not the thing that you're doing. It's that neural pathway that is so.
Yeah. It's I
don't know. Is it the dopamine? Is it you can't just, you're not wired for that.
No. And I think what I want to try to find is a way to sort of tie in where I'm at, like with projects like this show and my own sort of like views on health and talk to a group of people that are intrinsically unhealthy, like, or I should say unbalanced, right? Like it's not a balanced world.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think but to your point, there's when you've been doing it long enough, like there's almost like a responsibility to say, hey, look, here's a bunch of mistakes that I made, and here's a bunch of lessons I've learned.
Well, I honestly, if I write a book for acupuncturists, it's like, I almost was like, don't fucking do this. It'll suck. Right. Like, I mean, that was going to be the title of the book. Like, look at the shit I did. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Everything I did, just take it off of the list.
Just this will save you several $100,000 of learning.
Yeah.
Like, just don't do that.
Don't do any of the above. Yeah. Well, yeah. And yet, you're talking, but at the same time, you've got your own clinic, you've got a healthy client practice. So you're kind of like, well, the road was a little nutty, but here we are. And,
Well, but that's it. It's like, look, you got out to the other side. And now I want to say, that's a trap.
Yeah. Right.
No, there's a landmine right there. Don't step there.
Don't do that. Yeah.
I used to joke. It's like, look, the only reason I survived is I've literally stepped on every rake in the yard, but my head was just too fucking thick.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a good way of putting it, for sure. All right, buddy.
All right, man. This is great.
Check you next week.
Yeah, man.
Be subversive, irreverent.
Health is wealth, but you knew that.
Everybody knows that.
But so is following us on social media at Irreverent Health. And check out our website for more exclusive content at irreverenthealth.com.
Oh, I like this.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Irreverent Health.